My name is Commissioner Frank Avila of the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District of Greater Chicago. And the name of our show today is the Belgian Club of Chicago. And as my guests, I have two of the prominent Belgian people here in Chicago. One is David Baeckelandt. Glad to be on the show, David.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Very good.
Thank you.
And our other guest is Arnold van
Puymbroeck.
Yeah, these are lived in Chicago here for a long time, and every Belgian knows the two gentlemen, David and Arnold.
Correct.
Yes.
Now, David.
Yes.
Where is Belgium, and can you give a little history of the country so everyone would know about Belgium?
Sure. So Belgium is in Europe. It's north of France. It's west of Germany. It's south of the Netherlands, and it's across the English Channel from England.
Ah,
Yes.
so you got Germany on one side,
Yep.
France on the other side, Netherlands on the other side, and the English on the other side.
Yeah.
So you're right in that pocket.
That's right. So unfortunately, right in the middle where all the wars happen.
Yes.
So,
So
yes.
Belgium must have all the wars. So they've been crossing Belgium back and forth
Used
That's right.
as a battleground.
Yes. Yes.
as a battleground. Yeah. The
Yes,
Flemish,
unfortunately,
yeah.
that's
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. The Flounder Fields.
That's exactly right. So
Flanders
Flanders Fields so the history, the country didn't exist before 1830.
Yes.
But the people, of course, have existed for a long time, and there's two primary groups: the Flemish, who speak Dutch and are about 60% of the population, and the Walloons, who speak French and are a little less than 40% of the population. Yeah.
And this is the 100th year because the First World War started.
Yes. 1914.
1914.
1914, so this is 100 years. So probably in Belgium has a big celebration, big doings there in Belgium this year.
Big celebration in Belgium. They're in Flanders Fields, which is actually the name of a museum, as well as a American cemetery for our dead from World War I. It's in a town called Waterhem, which is in West Flanders. There was a lot of celebrations in 1914, but it's the 100th anniversary of the Belgian American Club of Chicago's founding as well. Yes.
Excellent.
That's
So,
My wife is Belgian, and we're planning. He says, Frank, we're going to go to Belgium. I said, no problem.
Excellent.
We'll go to Belgium, spend our money in Belgium.
That's great. That's fantastic.
So this is the 100-year celebration of the Belgian Club of
Belgian
Chicago?
American Club of Chicago.
Yes, that's right.
Now, Arnold, how long have you been a member of the Belgian Club?
I arrived in Chicago, immigrated from Belgium in 1952.
1952.
And I became a member of the Belgian American Club that same year.
Oh, the same year?
Yes.
Oh.
Because when you come to a strange country, you look up your Belgian
Yes.
heritage of friends.
Yes.
And that's how I got involved with the Belgian American Club, to see my Belgian friends who were immigrants from Belgium,
Yes.
who lived in Chicago.
And Sherry's family, they immigrated around Peoria.
Okay, great. Yeah, there's lots of pockets of Belgian immigrants in America, and people don't realize that there were Belgians in the first settlers for New York were actually from Belgium. Some of the first colonies of Belgians came with the Spanish because for a while Belgium was controlled by Spain, and so some of the priests and in fact Columbus had a brother-in-law who was Belgian, and Columbus's second voyage, the first two priests he brought over were also from Belgium. So
Also, priests, the Belgian was responsible for the Jesuits coming here to Chicago.
yes, that's right.
Look at
that's
the
right.
street Damon.
That's right.
Damon.
Yes.
Damon?
Yeah. So Father Damon,
Father
of course.
Damon?
Yes.
He named and he I think he founded St. Ignatius.
That's right. And there was also our second archbishop or second bishop for Chicago was also from Belgium, from Roussillade. And there was actually people don't realize, but the very first Catholic bishop, John Carroll, was educated in Belgium. He was educated in Bruges and Leuven. And so there's a long history between Belgium, or what's now called Belgium, and the United
Sure,
States.
the Belgians, if it wasn't for the Belgian, we wouldn't have these high schools or the Catholic grammar schools.
That's right.
At the very beginning.
Yes, that's exactly right.
They were the first missionaries, I think, the Jesuits here.
They were.
The Belgians were responsible for that, and very few people know about this.
That's right. Well, people don't realize that when LaSalle came here, LaSalle's mother was actually of Belgian ancestry.
Yeah.
Her last name was de Geer. And then when LaSalle came here, he brought 3 Belgian priests. So those 3 Belgian priests were some of the first Catholics here in Chicago.
I live on North Jansen.
Yeah.
Jansen is a Belgian name.
Yeah.
The street is named after a famous doctor who immigrated to worked in hospitals here in Chicago.
Oh.
And they named Jansen Street after him.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's where I live for the moment.
Oh,
I live in a Belgian street.
Yeah.
name.
Belgium. Now,
Belgian street name.
Yes, that's right.
now you mentioned that Belgium have 3 official languages.
That's correct. So Dutch,
Dutch-
French, and German.
Now, can you now do they speak all 3 languages? All the peoples, or can
No.
you say a few words in each of them?
Well, yeah.
Aren't
I speak all 3 of them.
all 3 of them?
Yes.
Well, speak a word in Belgian.
Dutch, you mean?
Dutch.
Flemish?
Wel, ik ben naar de Verenigde Staten gekomen in het jaar 1952.
Okay, what does that
Je
mean?
suis suivi de Belgique en 1952 pour immigrer à l'États-Unis. Ça c'est français. Ik ben in Chicago gekomen in 1952 en ik ben hier gebleven till ik leef hier nog. Dat is German.
German.
Ja.
Good.
En,
good.
en ik ook, ik spreek een beetje Vlaams. En omdat ik op van mijn vader, mijn grootvader en mijn grootmoeder een beetje Vlaams geleerd in thuis. Maar mijn Nederlands of mijn Vlaams is zeer, zeer beperkt. So I'll speak in English.
Oh.
So
now,
I s-
now, do they have a Belgian school here in Chicago?
no.
No, not teaching Belgian language where the Belgians could send their kids to learn Belgian?
Well, the language is Dutch, but
Dutch.
officially, but the dialects, the Flemish dialects, like the dialect in Vlassen,
yeah.
where Arnold is from, is
Yeah.
different than the dialect where my father is born, which is in Ghent,
Oh.
or that my grandparents are born, which is in West Flanders.
Oh.
So,
A lot
but
of,
yeah,
a
so
lot of different
dialects.
dialects in the
Yes.
Flemish language
Yes.
where we come from.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's throughout, but people don't realize that there are almost 30 million people that speak Dutch as a native language, whether they're in Belgium or in the Holland or in Suriname. So all 3 of those places have, native Dutch speakers.
So when the Belgians came to America, they settled here in Chicago, New York. You mentioned.
That's right. So they
just the bigger cities.
Well, they settled all over the country. I
Yeah.
mean, you can find Belgians literally in every single state of the Union, and Belgians were here in the earliest part of the settlement of this country,
Yes.
in the 1600s and 1500s, and all throughout the rest of the history. But Belgium has for many years, we talked about history, been part of other countries, been controlled by
Yeah,
other
yes,
countries. By Spain, by Austria, by obviously Germany during the wars, by France for long periods of time. And so a lot of people that were actually Belgian came here and are considered people of,
I
either
understand,
considered
yeah.
French or German or English or whatever.
Yeah, okay.
So a lot of times they don't get recognized as Belgian per se.
So approximately what year did the Belgians come to Chicago then? Was that when the Father Damon came in there?
Well,
the Jesuits.
We had one of the earliest families that came here with the Henroten family that came from Brussels. They came in 1848, and they were also the second family or the second group that became the honorary Belgian consuls here in Chicago. Or actually Belgian consuls, not honorary. And then Charles Henroten, son of the gentleman who first came here, he founded the Chicago Stock Exchange in 1882.
Is that right?
Yes. And you can still see his family's name in the Belgian church, which is in Logan Square.
Yeah.
So, so there's a lot of Belgians that, again, quiet, modest, and don't, draw a lot of attention to themselves.
So how many Belgians are here now in Chicago, you think?
I would,
My wife is one, so you got to
yeah,
count
yeah,
her.
Right.
I think if we have 500, would that be a lot?
I
for
think
the moment?
I think self-identifying as Belgian
Belgians.
is probably a small number.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But the reality is, when Arnold was president of the when he founded the Belgian Bow and Arrow Club in Chicago, there were 10,000 Belgians that marched in for the
Most
Belgian.
immigrants came from Belgium after World War II.
Okay.
You're taking 1947, 48,
Yeah.
49, came in 1952. A lot of Belgian people immigrated to the United States after World War II and settled most of them in Chicago.
Yes.
Oh,
That's why our club was thriving very good when
Yeah.
with all the newcomers
Yeah.
who belonged to became members of the Belgian American Club.
Yeah.
My time when I was president, I became president in 1978. For 20 years, I had over 300 members that
Three-
time.
oh, oh.
Yes, that was a
But
big membership.
yes, but there was also, Arnold's a pretty modest guy, so he doesn't tell you that he was president of about 13 other Belgian clubs in Chicago too.
oh, that's right. Oh,
And-
don't tell my wife; she wants to join all 13 now.
Yes.
But also, I mean, the Belgians here in Chicago were primarily here in one profession. Just like a lot of immigrants groups. All of the Belgians, almost all, were janitors.
Yes.
And when they came over, that was the only job that they could get.
Yeah.
They worked hard. They were the founders of the Janitors Local Number 1,
Yes.
which is now part of SEIU,
Yes.
which, as you may know, is one of the largest unions
Yes.
in the country. But it all started with that Belgian Janitors
yeah.
Union.
And the reason also was the vice president and the business agents were both Belgians who were
Yes.
on the Union Local 1.
Yes.
Gus Van Eyck was vice president, Ray Van Eyck was business agent who gave out jobs.
That's
right.
So any Belgian who came to Chicago his best thing was to go to Ray Van Eyck and ask if there was a job available.
That's
That's
right.
good.
And they got job through Ray Van Eyck, who was at that time the business agent representing Local 1.
But see, the thing is, our club is called the Belgian American Club of Chicago,
Okay.
but originally it was called the Belgian American Janitors,
Janitors
Club.
Club.
of
Oh,
Chicago.
is that right?
That's
Yes.
right. Because it was all the union members
yeah.
that formed this social club.
okay.
And it also had, it served a purpose when, Social Security wasn't as strong as it
Yeah.
is today.
Right, right.
So this was to help, these immigrants who came over here who had nothing and no social net to fall back on.
Yeah, you know what? If I drink a beer, I'll drink a Belgian beer.
Excellent. Good. Good.
And so if my wife eats chocolate, she'll buy a Belgian chocolate.
Yes.
and so, but America, we all think of Belgian beer
Yes.
and Belgian chocolate.
Yes.
Correct.
But there are other foods
Yes.
that the Belgian has besides the best beer around. My opinion is that you got to drink a Belgian beer because that's the best beer around.
Yeah, it's great beer. Well, this is the guy that started bringing Belgian beer to Chicago.
you?
Yes. In the 1960s, way before anybody else thought about it,
Yes.
Arnold started importing Belgian beer to Chicago. And so,
I have to see. I don't have to go out and have a beer. Show me which is the best beer around.
Yes, yes, yes.
well, but there's lots of other good foods
Yeah.
too. I mean, there's a common, but a lot of this food is food of, common people,
Yes.
right? So there's a stew dish that a lot of us make at wintertime. My wife, who's Chinese, is one of the best makers of it that I know, and it's called utsaput, which kind of means like everything tossed in together.
Yeah.
Or we have, of course, waffles, which are,
Belgian
Waffles,
Yes,
yes,
yeah,
right,
yeah,
right,
yeah.
right.
So lots of other things like that.
The
So-
Belgian endive became very
Sure.
popular here in
Yes.
in the United States, and also everybody loves Brussels sprouts.
Brussels,
Yes, yeah.
Brussels, oh.
But these are all things that actually people didn't know about in the 1940s or 1950s, but came over. Actually, Arnold, you were one of the people that were involved with the Brussels sprouts too.
Oh
I
yeah,
think.
Brussels sprouts. I mean,
Yeah.
I like Brussels
That
sprouts.
was before that.
No.
Okay.
What kind of food do you make on the Brussels sprouts?
Well, we just cook it.
Cook it, just
yeah,
cook it,
Just
eh?
cook
Yeah,
it.
it's
yeah.
like Brussels sprouts is like a little cabbage.
Yeah, which
yeah.
is good.
You
Yeah.
cook it
It's
and
healthy
for you.
too.
put
That's
it in
right.
butter and
Yeah.
And the endives too. I mean, endives are good for you as well.
Yes,
So
yes. At Loyola University Museum of Art, they had a Jesuit exhibit.
yeah.
And I don't know if your club ever went to visit that exhibit, but they did highlight what the Belgian contribute to the educational system in the Midwest.
That's great.
The Belgian priest came over, Father
Yes.
Damon. He came over, and as I mentioned, he was a Jesuit, and
Yes.
he started a lot of schools.
That's right. Yeah, a lot of people don't realize. I mean, there was a lot of Belgian priests that came to this country,
Yeah.
and actually they were part of the wave that started in the 19th century. And with the priest came the immigrants.
Yes,
right?
yes.
And So people forget that, for a long time, this country didn't produce enough priests to service all the Catholics that were in it.
And then he went up and did missionaries with the Indians also.
That's right. Father de Smet did that.
Yeah,
and yes.
He founded
in South Dakota.
South Dakota.
South Dakota.
St. Louis, Dement. I mean,
right.
they had a big exhibit on Dement, on
Yes.
what he did here.
That's right.
I mean, it was unbelievable. And it was the best exhibit I ever seen on what the Belgians did.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, your wife was actually born in South Dakota, where
Right.
Father de Smet was.
Yes.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Oh.
So,
Yes.
so there's a nice connection with all this, and all these Belgian communities all, kind of intermingled. I mean, there was a lot of transference of people from one to the. Arnold, you lived in Detroit for a while before you came to
Yeah,
Chicago.
that was my sponsor. That was my wife-to-be's uncle lived in Chicago. He sponsored me, so
Yes.
I
Oh, yeah?
arrived in Detroit.
Oh.
I worked there for 6 weeks still. Our family who came over together with me was settled in Chicago, and they called us that they were settled, and if we want to come to Chicago, that we were welcome.
Yeah.
And for me, I think it's the best move I ever did.
Now, let's say someone wanted to go have a Belgian restaurant. Where are some Belgian restaurants to go to here in Chicago?
There is none.
No?
Well, there's only one that has some Belgian connection, although it's not owned by Belgians. It's called the Hop Leaf.
The Hot on Clark Street?
On Clark Street, that's right.
Just
Yes,
around Foster?
that's
Yes.
correct. Yes, that's right.
Sells the most different Belgian
beer?
beers and known for his mussels and French fries.
Mussel French
Yes.
fries? Oh.
Yeah, that's a very Belgian.
Belgian
meal.
dish.
Now you're having on the fair a little event coming up now?
Well, I'm going actually to dinner at the Hop Leaf tonight with a couple of other Belgians, to be honest with you.
Okay.
But yes.
No, but isn't there an event coming up now? Or
We have multiple events. Yes. So we have
Mussel Fest coming up.
That's right. We have
in
the Mussel
March.
Fest. Yeah.
When's that? In March?
In March, yeah.
So
and where is that going to be held?
At the
the
Hop
Hop
Leaf.
Leaf.
Oh, Leaf.
Yes.
They reserve the room for us,
Yeah.
and we have the place for 2 or 3 hours.
That's
2 or
right.
3 hours? Okay.
And we sometimes have our board meetings there for the Belgian American Club of Chicago, and then for some of the other Belgian clubs, we've had meetings there as well. So it's a good place to connect with our Belgian roots. So.
Now, Arnold, you belong to 13 other Belgian clubs?
No, there was not 13, but close to it. I think there were 10 actually.
Okay, 10. Okay.
10 different clubs,
okay.
yes.
But it's a double
I
digits.
didn't belong to them. I became president over the Belgian American United Societies.
Okay.
There was another name of another group that was formed. So we got together, all different clubs, and we had our meetings, and we did things together. Instead of one individual little club, we could do more by merging all 10 together when we had planned to do events.
Oh, that's good.
We participated together. We participate together at the what they call at the Navy Pier when we had.
That's right. So there was every year there used to be
what they
back in the
call
60s and 70s and maybe even the 80s. There used to be a festival, like an international festival, and all the clubs would the Belgian clubs would put together like a Belgian village and have Belgian foods there, and
we organized a Belgian night in Chicago when we had 400 to 500 people, and we chose Miss Belgium that day. We also had what was the other one? Well, International Folk Fair.
That's right. That's it.
At Navy Pier, we participated together in that, and we had a Belgian Kermis. Kermis is a festival that's every town in Belgium has a Kermis. It's a festival. And we did that year, once a year too. We had our own. In Chicago, Belgian Kermis, where we made Belgian waffles, French fries, Belgian beer naturally.
Well, they were telling me the French fries originated from Belgium. Is that true?
That's right. That's right. Yes.
But they call
and
it
the
French
people
fries.
liked it and so much, and they actually were potatoes from Idaho.
Well, and people don't.
Idaho.
People don't realize, the potato, which of course comes from South America, was the first European recorded to bring it to Europe was a Belgian priest who brought it back to Antwerp in the 1500s.
Okay.
And so again, another example of how the Belgians don't get recognition for a lot of things that they were involved in.
Well,
but
Well, the Belgians are all over the world.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, the
that's
Belgians.
true.
Yeah.
Belgium is became a little more known now because it's the headquarters of NATO.
NATO, right.
It's headquarters of European Union.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So all the headquarters are in Brussels, Belgium.
Right,
Yes.
right.
And people have forgotten that the leader of the European Union, Van Rompuy, is actually Belgian.
Yeah.
The national anthem, which is by Beethoven, whose grandparents were from Antwerp,
Yeah.
has a Belgian connection.
Yeah.
And the original logo was designed by a Belgian, years and years ago.
Oh.
So there's a lot of connections.
A lot of connections.
Yeah, a lot of connections.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there's a, we have a Belgian hall here in Chicago, which we don't own anymore, but we had a Belgian church, which we can still go to.
Yeah.
And you can still see examples of Belgian connections. A lot of the stained glass windows have Belgian names on them. So, and there's a big tapestry which has the symbols or the shields of Ghent and Bruges on it. Those are two towns in Belgium.
Yeah, my wife wants to go visit Ghent and Bruges.
Oh, excellent. Great.
We
great.
haven't planned our trip yet, but maybe we'll
Okay.
talk to you.
Please let me know. Yes.
Because we want to leave like around June. And go
Excellent.
visit
Good.
Belgium there.
Well, you'll be warmly welcomed. I mean, it's great people, great food. It's a safe country, and I mean, you can't go wrong.
Now, and Belgium, you mentioned it borders Germany, France.
France.
I wonder if Sherry could bring it up again.
Yeah.
It borders the where Belgium is at. So it borders Germany,
Yes.
France, Netherlands, and the
English
ocean.
Channel. Yes.
And
English
the-
Channel.
Sea, you see on
The
the
North
screen there?
Sea.
The North Sea.
Yes.
The North Sea.
Yeah.
So you do have a shipping yard there then.
Yes. Antwerp is the
And
world's
Antwerp-
second largest.
World's second largest?
port. Yeah.
Also, every country ships their product to Antwerp to be shipped throughout the whole world. Probably.
That's correct. Well,
It's
I don't
not
know.
all of them because Rotterdam, Holland has his own shipyard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bremen, Germany has his own
okay.
shipyard. But
But a country like
but-
Belgium
Yes.
has their own shipyard.
Well, it's the world's second largest. Rotterdam is the largest, but also Antwerp is the port through which millions and millions of immigrants to America from Europe came.
Oh, is that
so
right?
even if they're from Eastern Europe, almost a large number of them, whether it's from Germany or Poland or Austria or whatever, came through the train system up to Antwerp and then took a boat from Antwerp to
right.
America. So if you go to Antwerp, what you'll see is there's a museum called the Red Star Line Museum.
Red Star, yes.
And it's all about the immigrations to America. And,
from Europe to the United
The
States.
Red
Yes,
Star.
yes.
Not just Belgium.
not
right?
just Belgium, yeah, from all over Europe. And so people don't realize how important Belgium has been
Yes,
to both the American story as well as to the story of world history. So,
Yeah, it's amazing. No?
yeah, it is, isn't it?
Well, growing up, I never knew any Belgian until I met my wife, and then I met her father, and they came. They still in Peoria, but I think her grandfather, worked in the mines. I mean,
Okay.
coal.
Sure.
Let's see. So that's how they immigrated to a smaller town, not in Chicago, but down 150 miles south there.
Well, a lot of my family originally immigrated and then immigrated back to Belgium, but my great-grandfather and his brother came to Moline, Illinois,
Moline,
which is a heavy, and a lot of those towns around Moline, Atkinson and
Big
Kewanee.
Belgian settlement.
Yes,
in
big Belgian
Moline.
settlements
Yes,
down there.
yes,
So and a lot of them went to Peoria as well.
Yeah,
So looking
Worked
for
in
the
the
job.
foundries there.
That's right.
Found-
That's
yeah.
exactly right.
Yeah.
Some of those Belgian immigrants then moved up to Chicago. So in St. Charles, you have a big Belgian community also, as well as coming back up here to Chicago, like my great-grandfather.
And also in Peoria, they have Caterpillar.
Yes.
Caterpillar,
Yes,
sure.
that's right.
I think Cat has an office in Belgium.
That's right.
Sure.
In
They do.
international.
Yes.
Because a lot of Sherry's relatives worked for Cat.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, the Belgians came over and they were hardworking. They looked for work, and wherever they could get a job, whether it was but if it was something with their hands, a lot of them could do it. So,
Yes.
and they were farmers, they were workers, and in the beginning, they faced a lot of the difficulties that people today face, with language, with acculturalization, and with being accepted. So
Now, if someone watching this show
Yep.
that wants to join the Belgian club, how
Yes.
would they do it? How would they get a hold of you to join the Belgian club? Do they call Arnold?
Well, we have a website, the
website?
Belgian American Club of Chicago.
Okay, Belgian.
BACC.
Okay.
So if they come to the website, there's a form they can click on,
Okay.
and we would be delighted to have them as members.
Yes.
And you don't have to be Belgian to be a member.
I see.
So we'd love to have you as a member. Frank, we would like to extend the membership
Well,
right now.
I think my wife joined.
Okay,
we
good,
joined
good.
there, and
Good,
my
excellent.
wife's
Okay.
because since her family is all Belgian,
Right,
and,
right.
and so she.
Does she speak the language or not?
No.
No.
That's why I said if there was a school to send the kids to, maybe she'll go to a kids class
Yeah.
first.
Yes. well, we
We had a school when I was president.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law was the teacher because
yeah?
he was a teacher in Belgium
Yeah.
before he came over here, and we had some Flemish classes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh yes, that time. But as years went by, my brother-in-law retired and gave up as a teacher for that job. But
Yeah.
we did it for about 3-4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, her maiden name is Hoosty.
Yeah.
H-O-O-S-T-E.
Oster, yeah.
Yeah.
Hoster. Hoster.
Oster,
Ooster.
not Usti.
Oh.
Oster is the
Oster.
pronunciation in Flemish.
Yeah. So that's and her family is originally from Antwerp. Is that the area?
Yeah,
that's,
yeah.
Well, that's the same area that Arnold's.
I
Arnold.
come from a
Yeah.
town 15 kilometers from Antwerp
Oh,
with a population of 3,000.
3,000.
Yeah.
No.
And for the moment I just saw on the Gazette van Antwerpen.
Yeah.
I read my Belgian newspaper every day on my computer.
Yeah. So do
Oh,
I.
yeah?
Yep, same here.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
So I see what's going on in Belgium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let us know because we're going to go to Belgium in June. So
Excellent.
So
Well,
let us know.
we'll take care
Yeah.
of you. We'll make sure you go to all the good
Yeah,
places.
yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, because she does want to go on that on the tour of World War One.
Well, that's great.
Yes.
Yeah. So the great thing,
the Flanders, yeah.
I mean, millions of people died
Yeah.
in Belgium during World War I. As
Yes.
you
Oh
probably
my
know.
God, a
Yeah.
lot of World War One. I mean, Belgium was a battlefield.
Yes.
Sure to you.
Yeah.
And you can still find the old trenches. They preserve the old trenches along the Iser River,
Yeah.
which
Iser, yeah.
which is where the front line was.
Yeah, the
And
Flanders Field. Yeah.
That's right. So it's
Flanders Field.
near the
Yeah.
town of Dixmude.
Yeah.
Where
Uh,
the puppy's name came.
Right.
Yes,
Probably
yes.
make it, yeah.
So if you go to there's a Flanders Field Museum in Ypres.
Yeah.
And you can go there, you can see a lot of the memorials, but you
Yeah.
can also see the actual trenches still in existence, unchanged from that
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
So, so it's a great place to go, and delighted to
Yeah.
make some introductions for
Yeah,
you.
we're gonna travel, so we're trying to probably make our arrangements in the next couple of weeks, in a
Great.
month there. on
Great,
there.
fantastic.
We'll spend our money in Belgium.